WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, everyone. A bit of closure tonight for a family in Illinois. It all started on Memorial Day weekend. A group of friends left their home there in Illinois, headed for Florida. But on May 30th, their car left the highway, crashing into Town Creek in Tupelo. Back in Illinois, family and friends were worried the two couples never made it.
Well, it wasn't until a fisherman discovered their car in the water that recovery teams were called. 3 people were located. 3 families were notified more than a week. The 4th person in the car, Amber Smith, now has been missing. Our Jory Talley has provided continuing coverage. She joins us in the studio with today's developments. Jory.
Audrey and Joey, the sun was finally shining when the call came in this morning from the Aberdeen Lock and Dam. The 24-year-old had been found.
The family and friends of a young Illinois woman have closure.
We have confirmed that this is Amber Smith. I have spoken with her family in Illinois.
9:16 a.m. this morning, Lockmaster at the Aberdeen Lock and Dam notified officials that he spotted what seemed to be a body. It was in the gates at the Lock and Dam at the Aberdeen Lock on the north side.
The Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries and Parks pulled her from the water Wednesday morning.
They come out and got a boat, went out and made the removal. About 10:25 they were able to get the body in the boat, and we recovered her about 10:45 and removed her from the scene. That time we had notified the Lee County coroner.
The current took Smith's body almost 40 miles away from the original crash site in Tupelo.
Unfortunately, with the bad weather, we've had limited progress up in Lee County, and I'm just relieved that she was found so near to Lee County so that we had a team working effort and we could close the case.
Part of Carolyn Green's job is to notify the family. She says while they are upset, the news brings them a sense of relief and closure.
I believe that they were at the point where they were about to come down here and start working on their own, even though they know we've done everything that we possibly could do as far as manpower, bringing in other resources from other areas. I can't say enough about the Tupelo Fire Department's effort in getting in that creek and bringing in other individuals and the cadaver dogs. They've worked tirelessly on that.
Heather Urin, Terrence Weeds Jr., and Sean Haygood also died in the accident. Haygood's sister Heather tells WCBI that her family appreciates the community's kindness and passionate words for the 4 friends whose road trip ended tragically.
Investigators still don't know what exactly caused the accident. The next step is getting Smith's body to a funeral home of the family's choice and then getting her back to Illinois. The families have set up GoFundMe accounts to help cover cost of transportation and burial. You can find the links at WCBI.com. Andrea?
All right, Jory, thanks so much for that update. Columbus police make an arrest in a November 2016 homicide. 17-year-old Kevis Hill is now charged with murder. His bond was denied. Hill was already in the Lowndes County Jail on 3 unrelated aggravated assault with a weapon charges. Investigators did not release any details on what led to Hill's arrest. 18-year-old Deshaun Boyd's body was found lying next to a burning vehicle in the 2100 block of 8th Avenue South on November 28th. Boyd was shot to death. The car was on fire when firemen got there early that morning. The case is still under investigation. If you have any information on it, call Golden Triangle Crime Stoppers.
The man accused of shooting and killing his son has his first day in court. Bond is set at $50,000 for 69-year-old Larry Johnson. He appeared before Justice Court Judge Peggy Phillips this afternoon. Another court appearance is scheduled for November 13th in Circuit Court. Lowndes County deputies were called to Johnson's River Drive home on Tuesday morning. His son, 40-year-old Drew Johnson, died at the scene. Investigators tell WCBI that the shooting happened Monday night and the elder Johnson did not call 911 until Tuesday morning. Chief Deputy Mark Miley says 911 operators were told by Johnson that he had shot his son and he believed his son died. Larry Johnson is charged with murder.
The Columbus Police Department continues to fill its ranks with new officers. City Councilmen approved hiring 6 new patrolmen. There are now a total of 67 on the force, but some of those are at the police academy right now. At one point in the last year, CPD lost 20 officers in 6 months. The department is budgeted for 77 officers. Columbus Police have hosted recruiting fairs in the past couple of months in hopes of filling some of those open positions. Time for a first look at our forecast on this Wednesday. We'll turn it over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson for that. Keith?
Well, Andrea, speaking of Columbus, that's a live look. Wow, friendly clouds out there, a lot of sunshine, blue sky, dry air, temperatures in the low 80s. Let's go to Tupelo. Much the same story in downtown at Fair Park. Those clouds will go away this evening. Temperatures are warm, upper 70s, low 80s here in the region, a little bit warmer down to the south, but locally right around 80 right now. Excuse me. We're going to be cooling down into the 60s by 11 o'clock. And look at this, not a typo here. 57 degrees our forecast low tonight. Your full forecast in just a few minutes.
An area festival committee is out of $3,000 after the city says it did not abide by its contract. The city of Amory and the Railroad Festival Committee bumped heads in last night's Board of Aldermen meeting. The city says the committee broke its contract, or rather didn't comply with the contract when it didn't properly dispose of trash following this year's Railroad Festival. Every year the city gives the committee $3,000 after the festival to help with expenses. This year the city wrote up a contract with the committee to hold them accountable. The committee says they feel the contract set them up for failure.
We felt like from the beginning it was a lease that was put in place to make sure that we were going to fail. And we know now from the meeting that just took place that we've got to open up communication, and that's something that we have agreed upon with both parties moving forward. We're going to communicate more, and we're going to try to work on a lease that's better suited for both parties.
And both the city and the Railroad Committee say they still plan to host the Railroad Festival next year.
The Caledonia mayoral election is still up in the air tonight. These are the numbers we received early this morning from Town Hall. This afternoon, a recount was started of all the ballots. At one point, Mitch Wiggins requested that the counting be stopped until his attorney was present. The recount was continuing this evening. We'll continue to follow this story and let you know more as information becomes available. Meanwhile, in Eupora, all the votes are counted, but there's still no winner in that race after election officials counted all the ballots, including absentees and affidavits. The two mayoral candidates are tied at 311 votes apiece. Election officials will meet Monday to determine a tiebreaker.
Well, towns including Calhoun City, Verona, Plantersville, Smithville, and Eupora will all have new mayors. Incumbents are out, and there will be new faces in City Hall next month.
Yeah, Eupora Mayor Dan Birchfield is retiring after being in office for 2 decades as an alderman and mayor. Our Quentin Smith talks with him about the job these new people will soon take on.
A lot of people think that the mayor is like the CEO or boss of a company, and that's just not true.
It's a lesson Dan Birchfield has learned the past 4 years as Eupora's mayor. He has a unique take on what it takes to lead a small town.
Probably the best word that I can give is interesting.
Small town mayors have to be a jack of all trades. Their job requires them to serve in various roles.
You end up doing a lot of helping department heads make decisions about finances and budget, about projects, about scheduling, about how to prioritize. You do a lot of administrative duties of grants and things like that.
Citizens expect the towns to provide services such as road repairs and police service. Birchfield says the needs are always growing without a large amount of revenue.
The best and the brightest tend to move off. Why? Because the high-paying jobs are not here. They are someplace else. The diversity of jobs is not here. It's someplace else.
Being mayor of a small town has part-time pay with full-time hours.
In Eupora, the mayor makes $18,000 a year. Our needs are such that we need a full-time mayor. Our ability to, say, compensate a full-time mayor is not there.
However, Birchfield says there's several unique advantages that comes with leading a small town.
Everybody knows everybody. And so therefore, if you need some help, many times all you have to do is ask.
Birchfield says small towns must do a better job of marketing themselves to attract more people. He's proud of his time in office, calling it an incredible ride.
Well, after serving the small town of Smithville for more than a decade, Greg Kennedy will complete his final term as mayor at the end of the month. In 2011, during Kennedy's administration, an EF5 tornado destroyed more than half of the town of Smithville. And then in 2014, Kennedy was actually a big help to Louisville Mayor Will Hill when an EF4 tornado devastated that town. In fact, Hill once referred to Kennedy as, quote, a calming presence during that very tough time. Smithville resident Martha Garner says she supports the new city leadership, but says Kennedy will be missed.
It was kind of a shock to me, but now Mr. Coward is a fine fella, and I'm sure that he will do a fine job, but I was a little surprised with that. It'll just all be new to us.
And our Victoria Bailey will have more with Mayor Kennedy and his time there in Smithville coming up tonight at 10 o'clock.
It's a stretch of road that can be a driver's headache, but help may soon be on the way.
We'll check in on the progress in Starkville when we come back. Welcome back, everyone. Ask some Starkville drivers and they'll tell you that Highway 12 has almost become a nuisance to travel. Repairs and maintenance projects have begun across the highway.
WCBI's Parker King is live on Highway 12 to tell us more about how the project is going. Parker.
Guys, the Northern District Transportation Commissioner Mike Taggart spoke with business leaders and city officials today, talking about how this plan is unfolding. Everything is on schedule, and sooner rather than later, people will be able to drive without worrying about when their next visit to the mechanic will be.
It's not a secret how dangerous Highway 12 in Starkville can be.
After doing a complete safety review for the entire corridor, we found that it had the highest crash rate of any state route north of the Jackson metro area. And so this project is designed in order to reduce that crash route and make that whole route much safer for the traveling public and for the business community.
Taggart says the project is going just as planned.
It's on schedule. Everything's moving as well as possible for a big construction project like that. The focus of that project is simply the safety aspect of Highway 12.
Lawmakers have cut the State Department of Transportation, preventing newer, much-needed highways. Now, Taggart says MDOT will focus on keeping the condition of high-traffic roads in check.
We've had a philosophy within the Department of Transportation for the last few years to downsize our new construction simply because our focus is on maintenance and safety. And so the crux of the budget will be used exactly for that. Safety improvements, maintaining the system that we've already built.
As a Starkville resident, Taggart drives this road almost every day, so he knows the construction can be a headache. However, he believes the eventual outcome will be a big improvement.
It's a huge safety issue for us, and that is just an essential business corridor within the community. And so this project is aimed at improving that route and the safety on it.
And crews are wasting no time here working day and night on this consistently busy road. We're live on Highway 12 in Starkville. Parker King, WCBI News. Guys?
I travel that highway a lot. I'm not complaining. Pardon the progress, right?
I was going to ask you what you thought about that highway.
I'm keeping an open mind about it.
There you go.
Otherwise, pretty nice out there right now. Friendly clouds, low 80s. Comfortable tonight. Your full forecast is next.
Your First Alert weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
All right, more good weather for Thursday. Tomorrow, well, how about this? Friendly clouds again, 82 degrees, quite pleasant. Humidity levels stay low. Winds not as strong as today from the north at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Now, we are nearing our peak daylight for the year, just a few days away, a few weeks away. Today, 14 hours and 18 minutes. Now, by the solstice on the 20th, about 5 more minutes, 14 hours, 23 minutes. So our days have grown long, and then we will start losing daylight. And it's very rare this time of year to see lows down into the 50s, but we're going to do it tonight, tomorrow night, perhaps Friday night too. Enjoy it, open up the windows, turn off the air conditioning, high pressure coming on in, so there's an absence of serious cloud cover or storminess here in our area back to the northwest, and that's the regime coming our way. What we've had is down here in Georgia and Florida, storms, gusty wind, very heavy rainfall. We know the drill there, right? But high pressure winds out, and that means some nice weather for our Thursday. You can see it right here as we get into Friday too. Just a few friendly clouds. Now, the weekend's going to be a little bit different. We're still going to be mostly sunny to partly cloudy. It will be a little bit warmer, but there's some deep tropical moisture that will start to creep back north. There could be a few showers right along the coast here, southern Mississippi and Alabama on Sunday. We're going to stay dry here, but that moisture gets back here as we get into next week, so we revert back to that summertime weather pattern once we get past the weekend. Now, we will warm up to around 90 Saturday and Sunday. Humidity much more noticeable again by late Saturday into your Sunday. Currently in Starkville, mostly sunny, 79 degrees. There's that northerly breeze at 11 miles per hour. Humidity down to 42%. 80 in Tupelo, 77 already in Oxford, 82 in Macon. And you can see those dew point values, a lot of 50s here, and that's that drier air that's been coming on in all night and all day long here over the last 12 to 18 hours. Our forecast for tomorrow, mostly sunny to partly cloudy, low 80s across most of the region. Some of you may stay in the upper 70s, but all things considered, another A-plus day here locally. 85 on Friday. There's that weekend forecast around 90 degrees. Rain chances they'll return Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday with that typical summertime weather pattern. Joey?
All right, thanks, Keith. Ole Miss head coach Hugh Freeze speaks with the media about the school's latest response to the NCAA investigation. More from the Rebels coach next in sports.
WCDI Sports with Tom Ebel is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
One day after Ole Miss releases its statement on the latest NCAA allegations, head coach Hugh Freeze gives his thoughts on yesterday's response. The head coach took part in the FedEx St. Jude's Classic Pro-Am today up in Memphis. In Tuesday's response, the university gave its full support for Freeze and will contest the serious allegations of lack of institutional control and a head coach responsibility violation. Freeze spoke with the media today about the university's support.
The support's been phenomenal, and I couldn't ask for any more from our people, and they've witnessed me closely run a program, and obviously they have confidence that we're doing it the right way, and we're excited to get to the next phase of it.
How nervous are you about the next phase?
I'm just ready to get to the next phase. There's no nerves, just ready to get it over with.
If you missed out on the full response, go to our website, WCBI.com. Well, we're 3 days away from the first pitch of the prize fight between two storied baseball programs. Mississippi State will look for a little bit of revenge this weekend in Baton Rouge after LSU swept the Bulldogs in the last regular season series at the Old Duty Noble. Both teams are red hot, the Bulldogs winning 4 straight to get out of the Hattiesburg Regional. LSU, a scoring machine, putting up more than 10 runs in 7 of the last 10, riding a 14-game win streak. Head coach Andy Cannizaro says he's looking forward to battling some of the guys he recruited in the past couple of years.
It gets a little awkward sometimes, and listen, I want the best for all those players in that other dugout. Those guys are tremendous kids from tremendous families, and they're great workers and want to win. And I will always be there for those kids. They know that. But this weekend for 3 days, it's Hail State, maroon and white, and I'll catch up with those guys down the line sometime.
We got a lot going for us. We got a lot of vengeance coming from LSU coming in here and sweeping us at home. So I feel like if we can go down there with enough heart and pride and overcome the crowd and everything, I feel like we can pull 2 out.
Just heard from Connor Pilkington along with pitching Game 1 Saturday for the Bulldogs. Pilkington also received quite the honor of pitching for his country. The sophomore southpaw accepts an invitation to compete with the USA Baseball Collegiate team this summer. Pilkington will not only be playing with some of the world's best, but he'll also be facing some of the world's best competition internationally against the Chinese and the Cuban national teams for the collegiate level. So we were talking a little bit about it at 5, but both of these teams combined for almost 30 Omaha visits in their history. So it's going to be a seriously good matchup in the box down in Baton Rouge. Looking forward to that.
Two top-tier teams in the SEC, no doubt.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks, Tom. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
All right, here's our 7-day forecast. Enjoyable weather for the next few days here. Low humidity, at least through Friday. Not too bad Saturday, but we get warmer this weekend.
Oh, it's just nice to finally see some sunshine.
It is.
The breeze today, the drier air today, I think a lot of spirits have been boosted.
I mean, really, it's like this when I walk outside, just a breath of fresh air.
It's just been so
this morning.
gloomy and tropical and damp that we needed a day like today.
No, indeed. All right, well, thanks so much, Keith. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Have a great night.